Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the charter situation. So over the last 2 weeks, and it's kind of blown up over the last week, and especially over the first weekend, everyone's been talking about it. There's been some super vocal people, mainly Michael Andretti, and that's kind of who I'm going to be mainly talking about in this video. But for those of you who don't know what the charter system is, so how IndyCar currently works, so they currently have a system, especially for the 500, where basically you can enter the 500, the main teams obviously enter it. There's one-off teams that enter it. There's regular teams that run additional cars. So you can have 45 entries, but only 33 entries get in. So then the additional entries get bumped. So, Scott Dixon, that's a regular in the series, can, screw up a qualifying lap, and then he gets bumped out of the 500, which is a completely fair thing, because I think if someone wants to come along, like, for example, Kyle Larson is going to be running the 500 with Aaron McLaren, he could effectively bump Scott Dixon out. What I think is amazing. I think it's amazing for the sport. It creates headlines. I don't see negativities in it. But what's being suggested is they add a charter system which allows teams to buy into the 500. So they pay Roger Penske $1 million and it guarantees them a spot in the 500, which on paper it sounds like a good idea, but it ruins the spectacle of it. It's been like that from the beginning of time, and implementing such a system in such a historic race is just crazy. So obviously part of the reason they've been wanting to implement the system is because obviously, as everyone knows, if you're an IndyCar fan and you've been in it for a long time, IndyCar is not a big sport. I mean, it's a big sport, but it's not an F1, it's not a NASCAR. They don't have unlimited funds, so this is just a way to generate more money. But I don't think it's good enough. I don't think this is a good system. I think this is negative for the sport. I think this is gonna, especially a lot of the old people that have been watching IndyCar, or specifically Indy 500 for decades, I think this will kind of skew them away from watching it, because it kind of removes the spectacle of it. So one of the more vocal team owners has been Michael Andretti. He's been very critical about the system, which I appreciate Michael Andretti for that. I do like that he's speaking out. No one else seems to be that critical of it, and his whole point is, Roger needs to figure out another way to come up with this money, and one of his big suggestions was for him to sell a portion of it, maybe only sell, 10, 20, 25%, so that he still has a majority share in the company, so he doesn't have to give up any control, but it, gives a huge cash injection to it, because, I mean, Roger's done a lot for IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. If you've been to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the last few years, the track is amazing. He's done so much development, and the facility is beautiful, but I don't think that's enough. There's been so many disastrous things. Like, the big thing is they've been promising a hybrid system for 4 years now. Literally I think it's maybe 3 or 4 years. I think it's 4 years, and there's always been a problem. It's like, we delayed it like to do this, and then, COVID, it was like, oh, there's a supply chain issue, which maybe there was, but it seemed like every single series and every single person in the whole entire world blamed a supply chain issue. And then, there was various issues, and there was this, and there was this, and then now it was just like, well, it's not quite ready. And now it's going to be rolled out in the middle of the season, which is just like, really? My personal theory is probably it's going to get to the beginning of May, and then they're going to be like, oh, oops, actually, we're just going to hold off until the next year. It makes more sense. So it's just like the delaying and the delaying and the delaying, which I understand. If there's a delay, there's a delay. But you need to be transparent with your viewers. The people that give you money, you need to tell them up front, hey, we can't get it done this year. But they wait until, like, it's like a month until starting, and like, oh, hey, by the way, it's not ready. It's like, that's not good enough. You need to give us time to process it. I don't like the, non-transparency. And I guess that's the big problem I've had with, and there's nothing, I don't have any ill will against Roger. I think he's done a lot for the sport. But I think introducing this charter system is just not a good idea. He needs to figure out a better way. So then I guess the second point to this was that Chip Ganassi seems to be very pro-charter system. A fellow YouTuber, or I guess journalist at this point, David Land, you should check him out if you've never heard of him. He makes great IndyCar content. Anyway, he asked him a question about whether he supports the charter system, and his answer was basically, yeah, of course I support it. And it was kind of, but he kind of gave it a half kind of baked answer. It was kind of like, yeah, I support it, but I don't fully support it. So it was almost just like he kind of dodged the question. So it's almost like he obviously supports Roger, but he doesn't want to, give his full entire support because it probably doesn't look good on him. Okay, so that's gonna be about it for this video. I've already rambled on for about 6 minutes at this point, so I want to just kind of lead this video off with, what do you guys think? My personal opinion is the charter system is going to destroy IndyCar. I don't think it's going to destroy IndyCar, but I don't think it's positive for the sport. But I want to leave it off, and what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you support it, if you're, I don't care how long you've been watching it. Let me know how long you've been watching IndyCar, and do you support this, or do you think it's a bad idea? So that's going to be about it for this video, so see you in the next video, guys. Bye!